This oftentimes is a topic that comes up in some of the coaching and some of the things that we do is trying to help you step into the place that you're actually doing the thing that you say you're going to do. Maybe you've said, I'm going to get healing. Maybe you've said, I'm going to work on myself. Maybe you've said you're going to go to the gym and you don't actually do it. Where in your life right now are you actually breaking agreements with yourself? What this does is it produces this anxiety, produces this stress of you not having confidence in who you are. You probably have already gone through this of not having confidence because of the toxic person you've been with, the narcissist in your life, the person who's degraded and beat you down and pulled you down to a place where you feel like you're a shell of a person. You don't have any worth. You don't have any value. Those are different things that you struggle with. But what adds to that even more is you breaking agreements with yourself. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's say you have an agreement of, hey, you're always going to do X, Y, and Z. You're always going to go to the gym at 7 o'clock in the morning, and you don't. And one day you don't, and it's not because you didn't plan it. It's just, I decide I don't want to do it. I don't really care about doing it. You start to slowly break an agreement with yourself. This happens in the same place in healing. This happens in the same place of you leaving the toxic relationship. You're like, hey, I'm going to leave, and then you don't. Hey, I'm not going to give him any more chances, and then you give him another chance. And this keeps happening over and over and over. So how many of you right now are struggling with breaking agreements with yourself? Now, what this does long-term is it starts to slowly erode your confidence. He eroded your confidence. Now you start to erode your own confidence because you're like, well, I'm not doing what I said I was going to do, so either I must not be good enough, or I'm not doing what I said I was going to do, so therefore you don't have trust with you. How many of you right now would say that you don't necessarily trust yourself 100%? Type in me in the chat. You might be like, hey, I don't even know if I trust myself to pick the right person. I don't even know if I trust myself to be with another person because I'm not sure if they're toxic. I'm not sure if I can identify it. I got sucked into the last relationship. Maybe I'll get sucked into this one. Then oftentimes when you've got to this place, you don't have any trust with yourself. Maybe you're like, I don't know if I don't trust myself or not. Okay, then consider this question. Do you have trust in other people? Because a lot of times when people get out of a toxic relationship, they'll be like, yeah, I don't trust anyone anymore. Oftentimes, it's not that you don't trust anyone else. It's that you don't trust yourself to make the right decision, to see the red flags, to actually know what's happening before you get to a place where it is toxic, before you get to a place where you're stuck, before you get to a place where you're trauma bonded. Maybe you've gone through this and you've gotten to the place where you're trauma bonded. You're stuck. You're addicted to this person. Mentally and emotionally, you're like, I don't know how to get out. My head says, leave. My heart says, but give another chance. And you stay longer. And what happens is this back and forth that you play in your mind, breaking these mental agreements with yourself. It erodes your confidence. It erodes your trust. And oftentimes will leave you spiraling down even more into the pit of depression, of frustration, of anxiety, of stress. So I want you to understand, if you're having this in your life, it's time for you to start making a change. Whatever that might be, regardless if you work with me or not, there needs to be a change. There needs to be something that happens in your life. Because if you keep breaking these agreements with yourself, you're not going to heal. You're not going to grow. You're not going to continue to develop. Because every time you do, it's going to feel like one step forward, two steps back with yourself, not with anyone else. I was talking to a client the other day and she was self-sabotaging. She would start moving forward and then she'd be like, it'd blow up. And she'd be like, I don't get why I do this. I don't get what I'm struggling with. And she realized that part of it was she was unconsciously getting used to this fact of breaking agreement with herself. She'd say she's going to do something, then she wouldn't do it. And a client the other day that I was just talking to earlier today, I actually was just talking to, and it was a super exciting win for her because she's in the process of getting a book published. It's super exciting. And then she's like, this is huge because it's been part of my journey. This is huge because without you pushing me to actually do it, I wouldn't have done it, because she kept saying, I want to do it. I want to do it. And I'm like, okay, let's put a date and time. When are you going to start this? When are you going to do this? Having her make an agreement with herself so she'd actually follow through. Many of you right now have not had agreements with yourself. You haven't had consistency with yourself. And so as a result, there's no trust there. You don't have trust in the toxic relationship, but let's be honest, you don't have trust with yourself that you can actually show up for you. You haven't showed up for you for such a long period of time. He didn't let you. But now you're like, I don't even know what this looks like. I don't even know what this feels like. I get it. But let's start to build that in. What if we could actually start building in healthy habits? Ones that have you focus on you on a day-to-day basis. Ones that help you actually steer you towards the direction you want to go, to become the person that you actually want to be. What if we could actually provide that? What if we could actually help you understand every time you get triggered, you can have a system to be able to deal with the trigger so it doesn't sideline you? Another person I was talking to, she was in a town where she caught her other narcissist cheating and saw him in the car. There's like this visual interaction. And guess what? It didn't trigger anymore. And you ask why? Because in the 3 months that she's, or 4 months that she's worked with us, she's known and figured out how to deal with her triggers, how to have that not sideline her, how to not have that like spiral out. She said the other day, she was like, if that would have happened like 4 months ago, like I would have been like completely useless for like 2 weeks. Like I would have been stuck mentally and emotionally because of the trauma bond, because of the anxiety, because of the stress, because of the triggers that she didn't know how to deal with. But now there's a difference because she has this trust with herself. And she's able to have this trust with herself because when the triggers come, they're still going to bother her, but she has a tool to be able to work through it. She's able to go back and say, okay, I know how to work through this every single time to come to a conclusion that helps me feel better, that helps me move ahead, that helps me move past this issue in the road because this person is trying to control my mindset. I'm not going to let them do that anymore. How many of you are struggling with this right now? You're breaking agreements with yourself. You're constantly getting triggered. You're like, I don't know how to move on. I'm stuck because I'm addicted to him. I'm stuck because like I want to go back. Why won't he call me? Why wasn't I good enough? Like all these questions and more are ones that we answer and help you actually process and have tools and systems to deal with it so that when the issues come, when the toxicity comes, it starts to bounce off of you because it no longer has a foothold in your life. It no longer is a piece that holds you down, that sedates you, that makes you feel worthless, but instead you can see it for what it actually is. You move forward in a place of power and confidence and certainty so you can actually be the person that you're called to be. This is the piece that a lot of people don't know how to do. Then it's not because you're dumb or stupid or haven't figured this out. It's not because of that. It's because typically people don't know that there's actually a systematic way that we can deal with this every single time so that you deal with your triggers in a healthy way. So you're able to deal with them so that you're able to show up fully present for you, fully present for your kids, fully present for the people in your life that you're working with, that you're ministering to, that you're helping because you want that in your life. If you want that in your life and you want to continue to move forward in your growth, in your healing, and in your development, please reach out. Shoot me a DM that says break free. And we'll start talking back and forth to see where you're at. And I'll start giving you ideas and start moving you forward into, hey, this is how I can help you. Because we establish a process. We establish a path for you to be able to go down to eradicate the triggers and to know who you actually are. Be able to set up healthy habits. So you're actually showing up and saying, hey, I'm keeping an agreement with myself. Because myself matters. The narcissist made you feel like you didn't matter. The narcissist made you feel like you're worthless. Your ideas, your opinions, your thoughts made you feel like you're worthless. What if we can change that thought process in your mind so you understand that your worth is not dictated by how he treated you? Your worth is not dictated by how he lack of respect or didn't respect you. Your worth is made up of you actually showing up for you consistently, day in, day out. What if I could show you that? Would you be interested? If you're interested today, please DM me the words break free. Now have a conversation with you to see where you're at and see how we can help you moving forward.